This construction by the dorm won't be here for long. That's because hundreds of students will be moving in here next month. The roads are also pretty rough out here, and to give you an example of this, the snow right now is very thick and dense, and right under it is a thick sheet of ice. Once kids climb to the top of this ladder right here, they get harnessed in and start ziplining from there. This is what we're talking about, deaths. It has to be added to newer diesel trucks and RVs in order for them to meet emission standards. And inside this bag, there's items like granola, we've got some mac and cheese, there's also peanut butter and more items as well. This swing I'm on right here will actually be made accessible so those with mobility issues can use it. As you can see, it says the sales tax is for the purpose of providing central dispatching of fire protection. These struggles LGBT people face can only get better if we treat them like the human beings they are. It's smart to put a collar on your dog with a tag, just like this one. This is a picture of Raymond Clausen, but most everyone calls him Bud, and Bud lives here in this veterans home in Mount Vernon, and today is Bud's 100th birthday. Here at the football field where Torrance Evans would have played here for CMU's first game of the season tomorrow. Evans was a senior from Memphis, Tennessee, who was shot and killed.
I've had people text me and saying that I'm a bad parent or a teacher, and I should have told them what was going on.
We have new developments for you tonight. You might remember the Lynn Daycare Busy Bee accused of distributing medicated substances to children without parents' consent. These alleged substances were gummies and powdered milk served to the children. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us. KMU's Reagan Di Trolio joins us now in the studio to break down new accusations coming from a former Busy Bee employee. Emily, according to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Desi recently received an application for a new child care facility. This facility is called Growing Minds Preschool, and it has a different owner from the original daycare, Busy Bee, but it is also in the same location. I spoke with a former employee, the Growing Minds owner, and a lawyer to understand how this new daycare could possibly get a Desi license.
I seen the gummies. I don't know what they were, though. Like, I just knew she would give them to them and they would, pretty much wind down and go to sleep pretty fast.
The Growing Minds Preschool Facebook page has the same email, address, and photos as the Busy Bee Facebook page. Desi confirmed the new preschool's application in an email to KMU8. The Growing Minds Preschool owner, Danielle Rhodes, says the children in the photos are her children.
Attended Busy Bee. They're my children, so I used photos of my children for the Growing Minds page.
A former Busy Bee employee says Danielle is friends with Tanya Newbound, Busy Bee's owner, that lost her daycare license.
That's Tanya's best friend. Like, I'm not going to look at it differently than when I did the other daycare.
She said that you are Tanya Newbound's best friend. What do you have to say about that?
I'm not sure we would call each other best friends. We know each other.
They would talk every day. Danielle would come in and help her. Danielle's husband would come and help Tanya if something broke in the daycare.
A lawyer that specializes in cases involving children in a school setting says it's hard to tell where this investigation will go.
I've not seen anything like this before.
He says it's possible Newbound could only suffer regulatory consequences once the investigation concludes.
Investigations are underway. There are a lot of things we do not know, so time will tell.
I reached out to Newbound for comment, and she did not respond to my calls. The Osage County Sheriff's Department also did not comment, as this is an active investigation. And Desi says they are currently reviewing the Growing Minds application. If approved for her daycare license, Danielle says she hopes to open the daycare in the fall. In the studio, I'm Reagan Di Trolio, KMU8 News.
These people's lives have been so affected, and I'm coming from a nice warm house, and my house is all intact, and these people have lost, some of them have lost everything.
Right now, the Central Northern Missouri chapter of the Red Cross is on its way to help people affected by Hurricane Ian. Good evening, everyone. I'm Avery Everett. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. KMU8's Reagan Di Trolio is live at the Red Cross right now. Reagan, what are responders bringing with them to Florida?
Avery, the volunteers today took an emergency response vehicle, also called an ERV. And this van right here is pretty similar to an ERV. The biggest difference is an ERV has large windows off the side of it that volunteers can actually hand out food from. An ERV is also a bit bigger than this van, but both serve a similar purpose.
Every street was a dead-end street.
Jolene Davis is driving this Red Cross ERV to Florida. She says aiding others fulfills her.
I enjoy helping people. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't get a warm fuzzy from helping somebody else.
These Red Cross volunteers will deliver food, water, and other supplies well away.
We usually carry an average of about 500 meals or up to 500 meals. It depends on the area that we're going, but we do lunch and supper.
But that's not all the Red Cross is doing.
We actually shipped over 100 units of O blood product to the region in preparation.
Although Jolene and more than 100 other volunteers from the region are heading into the unknown, she's prepared.
You don't know what you're going into. You know, and the closer you get to it, the more devastation you see.
But Jolene says this is the least she can do for the people struggling under Hurricane Ian.
If I were in that position, there'd be somebody offering warm fuzzies for me. So.
And Jolene is headed to the Orlando area right now, but she says that could all change depending on the storm. She will be gone for 2 weeks, helping those who need it most. Live in Columbia, I'm Reagan Di Trolio, KOMU 8 News.
African Americans were first appointed to police departments back in the late 1860s. Today, there are about 58,000 black police officers in the U.S., according to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Museum. As we celebrate Black History Month, KOMU 8's Reagan Di Trolio shows us how a unique law enforcement program at Lincoln University is helping train more black officers.
When he's not at Lincoln University, you can find Max Walker patrolling the state capitol as a police officer. He got his job after graduating from the first HBCU Law Enforcement Academy. The Luletta program was established 2 years ago, and Walker was a part of the second class.
So that exact same night when I saw the news, I went online and put in the application. A couple of weeks later, I went down there and shook the chief's hand. He said, "Oh, you're going to have a good time here. I'm going to give you all the skills you need to do your job correctly."
After around 5 months into the accelerated program, Walker graduated as one of the top 3 recruits in his class.
The thing that I liked about him the most is he was always looking for a way to see the bright side of things.
Right after graduation, Walker accepted an offer to work with the Missouri Capitol Police.
We were very excited to have him join us. We're always looking for good officers who want to work with the Missouri Capitol Police. We're very unique, and he was willing to talk with us and interview with us and eager to learn.
Chief Gary Hill runs the academy at Lincoln. He says it's not always easy being a minority in law enforcement.
You know, some of the first black police officers picked up and put on the badge in the 1900s, the early 1900s, when race relations were at their worst at that time. So if they can do it then, we definitely need to step up our game and be able to do it now.
Chief Hill says when he told this to Walker, he took it to heart.
I definitely feel accomplished being a minority officer. I mean, given 10, 30 years ago, something like this, I wouldn't imagine would be possible at all.
But Walker made sure it was possible. He's only been on the job as a Capitol officer for a month, but looks forward to a lot longer in law enforcement. Reagan Di Trolio, KOMU 8 News, Jefferson City.
Volunteer fire departments are losing their volunteers. According to the New York Times, the number of volunteer firefighters in the U.S. dropped around 11% in the past 30 years.
KOMU 8's Reagan Di Trolio shows us some firefighters with the Boone County Fire Protection District split their time to help fill a need.
Volunteer firefighters are falling off. That's according to data from the National Volunteer Fire Council.
We see the decline in our neighboring jurisdictions. So you don't have to go very far to find volunteer fire departments that are 15 people, maybe 20 people.
Volunteer Sarah Jones says she's seen this at Boone County Fire.
There's still a hard sell to get people to come volunteer, whether it's with the fire department or in any other capacity.
Volunteer Lieutenant Don Baker says this could be due to Boone County Fire's recruiting qualifications.
We have an interview process which is different than most.
He says this problem could be from people being too busy to volunteer.
I'll work a regular from 7 until 5. I'll come here immediately afterwards. I'm here by 6, and then I'll usually get home probably 11:30.
Don Baker is a systems analyst at University Hospital by day and fights fires by night. And Sarah Jones is a park superintendent when she's not volunteering. But both firefighters say the extra work is worth it to save lives.
We had a cardiac arrest, and we all jumped in and we helped, and that guy is out there mowing his yard this week.
And it's worth it even when they can't save lives.
We ran on a gentleman that was a frequent flyer. He passed away, and about a year later, his wife flagged me down and basically thanked me for staying with her during the time that the medics and stuff were working with him.
These first responders prove every day that they're never too busy to help others in need. Reagan Di Trolio, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
Assistant Fire Chief Blomenkamp says they don't see the need for volunteers quite as much as more rural districts, but the Central Callaway Fire Protection District in Fulton is always looking for volunteers. If you would like to apply to be a volunteer firefighter, visit our website on KOMU.com.